why it's so important to name Black feminism in their work, or particularly when they're talking about intersectionality. It's something that's really important to me. I mean, I defy you to find a time when I haven't defined intersectionality in terms of its Black feminist roots, because I think it's absolutely central. But for those who are with us who have just, described intersectionality as, I don't know, interlocking systems of oppression and all that, why is it so important to name Black feminism?
Um, that's a great question. I mean, I think so. In the article, we do talk about these Black feminisms of similar concepts. So I'll just name them like the double jeopardy, multiple jeopardy, matrix of domination, engendering racial capitalism, and intersectionality are the ones we talk about in this article, although there are more. But we do think that they coalesce around specific sort of specificities about power analysis, looking at intersections, and trying to get towards like liberation in some way,
Mhm.
but that they might be more applicable to a particular case or to a particular research question, or maybe even a particular method. And so, I sometimes we all have come to see that article that might say they're doing intersectional analysis and they've done like a three-way interaction or something like that. And that's like, is that really it? Like, is that all that it is? We don't think so. And so we think that doing a deeper read or a deep study on Black feminisms for its merit would really instruct what the research is doing. And so
Mhm.
that's why we think it's so important.
Mhm. Mhm. Dr. Luna, anything to add before we open it up to questions, comments?
Well, I think the other reality is about the sort of who are people are attempting to erase, right? By not talking about origins. And again, there isn't consensus on how much people should or should not talk about origins and how far you can stretch. But and having been in some spaces in Europe, right, do find it continually fascinating how people are interested in concepts, and this includes like reproductive justice, which has origins and influence of intersectionality, and it's coming from women of color, particularly Black women, but are in spaces where like people aren't talking about race, right, or power. Right? So talking about Black feminisms in some ways requires confronting, even just in the language. And so there is a part where we talk about that sort of modifier, like what does it mean to have to say Black women, what are the origins of this? That doesn't mean it's only for, right? And can only be applied to, but what does it mean to have to actually articulate those words and those,
Mhm.
and for some it flows, and for others it is deeply uncomfortable, right? And intersectionality is about power. And when people are uncomfortable, it's often about power disruption, right? So it's like, what is the embodied impact of acknowledging origins and not just saying like, oh, we all know. No, we don't all know. And if it's not a big deal, then what's the problem with putting a sentence or two at the very basic level, acknowledging it, right? And so,
Right, right,
yeah.
right. I've
Yeah.
been in those spaces too. I've been in
Yes.
I remember a few years back, a conference, and there was this very vocal Dutch feminist who was up there about, and we're women first, for all of us. And it was like, wait a minute now. Yeah, so I do know. I've been there
Yes,
too.
yeah, and you were talked about, there's this interesting piece, I think, from political science where they do, the beautiful like visual analysis of the ways that intersectionality has been brought into different disciplines, including like business and all of that, and these clusters. And when we looked at it, it's like, okay, the title of it is about Black feminisms, but they don't exactly talk about Black feminisms, right? Like they make intersectionality proxy for Black feminisms without actually saying like, oh, by the way, like origins. Right? If someone is
Mhm.
just reading that article and that's the first time they were coming to it, they wouldn't necessarily fully
Yeah.
have a bit of a broader understanding. So we wanted it to also be like, if someone, this is the only thing they pick up, um, like Governor DeSantis, well, at least he knows a little bit. And I
Right.
say that specifically because after publishing, a mentor of mine was like, after you publish something, email everyone who you cited and let them know. And, we talk about Florida. So they got a copy. Don't know that they read it, but
Yes, but that's okay. You did your part.
yeah,
You
yeah,
did your part.
yeah.
You did your part.